All right, so we've got Thor, right? God of thunder, insanely strong, probably throws one heck of a lightning bolt-shaped party. But what happens when the guy who seems to have it all starts wondering if that's all there is?
Yeah, it's like, what happens when Thor smash gets old?
Exactly. And that's what's so fascinating about this deep dive. We're looking at Thor's untold struggle, the internal stuff that goes way beyond the usual superhero stories. And we're going deep with this one, folks. We've got Thor's untold struggle, the book itself, plus a whole stack of scholarly analysis to add some extra context.
Because, we tend to think of these mythical figures as, well, kind of one-dimensional, always winning, always strong.
Right, like action figures you never take out of the box.
Exactly. But what's cool about Thor's story is it's about change. Just like us, he's got to figure out who he is, what his purpose is, even though he's a god.
And the book starts with Thor at the top of his game. Beloved in Asgard, more victories than you can shake a spear at. But something's off. There's this line that really gets me. Was there more to his existence than endless conquest? Like, can you imagine you've achieved it all, but it's not enough?
That's the thing about us humans, right? We're always chasing something. But hitting that goal, sometimes it just highlights that there's something deeper we're missing. And for Thor, that's a scary realization.
So naturally, he goes to dear old dad for advice. Asks Odin straight up, what's the deal with all this? Looking for some of that classic fatherly wisdom.
And Odin, being Odin, gives him this super vague answer about wisdom versus power. Classic.
I definitely filed under Odin's cryptic hits.
But there's truth in it, right? Raw power without wisdom to guide it. That's a recipe for disaster. It's like History 101. Leaders who depend on brute force. They tend to create more problems than they solve. The book uses Thor's journey to really highlight that. It's like a warning about what can happen when you've got all that strength, but haven't quite figured out how to use it responsibly.
And this is where the book takes this really interesting turn. We're introduced to this completely wrecked kingdom. I mean, totally devastated. But here's the thing.
It wasn't some giant monster that did it.
Right. It was the king. Their own king.
And he wasn't deliberately evil or anything.
No, he was actually trying to do good, which makes it even more intense.
And it's like a cautionary tale, Good intentions, but without the wisdom to back them up, things can go really, really wrong. And for Thor, seeing this wrecked kingdom.
It's like holding up a mirror, isn't it? Makes him think about all his battles, all the victories.
And what they might have cost. The book doesn't sugarcoat that at all. It makes you think even heroes, even gods.
They can mess things up too.
Big time. And that's a tough thing for Thor to face. But that's also where the real growth starts to happen,
Because he starts to doubt himself. There's this point where he wonders if he's really any different from this king who messed everything up. And that's huge. Because up until now, it's always been Thor the strong, Thor the victorious.
That self-doubt, it's uncomfortable. But it's also necessary. It forces him to acknowledge that he's capable of causing harm, even when he doesn't intend to.
And that's a powerful realization for anyone, right? Not just gods. I mean, how often do we go through life thinking we're the good guys without questioning our impact on others?
All the time. And Thor's journey, it's like this reminder that we've all got that capacity for destruction within us. It's about recognizing it, learning from it, and making a conscious effort to choose a different path.
And speaking of choosing a different path, this is where Thor's little encounter with that ancient seer comes in. And this isn't just some random fortune teller, right?
Oh no, this is a being who's seen it all. Civilizations rise and fall, gods make their plays. He's got the ultimate cosmic perspective.
And what does this all-knowing seer tell Thor? True power is found in restraint.
Can you imagine? Thor, the god of thunder, basically told to chill out.
Talk about a reality check. I mean, his first instinct is usually to blast something with lightning.
Right. But the seer's message, it turns Thor's whole world upside down. It forces him to confront the idea that maybe, just maybe, true strength isn't about unleashing your power all the time.
It's about knowing when to hold back, when to choose a different approach.
Exactly. And that's a powerful lesson for anyone, right? Knowing when to act, when to speak, and when to just listen. It takes real strength to do that. And that's the challenge Thor's facing now. He's got all this power, but he's starting to realize that true strength lies in knowing when and how to use it. And that's a lesson that resonates way beyond the mythical realm of Asgard. It's something we all grapple with in our own lives, in our own ways.
But he doesn't, though, does he? He doesn't just lay down the law. It's more like he tries to get Loki to see things differently.
Yeah, and that's such a key difference. Like, he recognizes that Loki's acting out because he wants to be seen, to be acknowledged.
Which, let's be real, is a pretty relatable need, even if your brother isn't a god.
Totally. And instead of just coming down hard on him, Thor tries to connect with him, gives him this chance to be part of something bigger, which says a lot about how far Thor's come. He's choosing empathy over judgment.
Of course, it's Loki, right? So it's not like he suddenly turns into a big softie. There's still that tension, that possibility that it could all go sideways.
Oh, for sure. But even when Loki pushes back, Thor doesn't lose it. He doesn't threaten him or reach for his hammer.
Right. No lightning bolts.
Exactly. It's like he's breaking the cycle. He's choosing a different way, even though it's hard.
And that line he says, "I've learned that power without purpose is destruction." Chills every time.
It's everything he's learned, summed up in one sentence.
He's not just talking about himself either. He's talking about Asgard, about everyone. It's like he's saying, we can do better. We have to do better.
And that's the heart of it, right?
Yeah.
It's not enough to just have power. You have to know what you're using it for. And that's as true for us as it is for Thor. It's a good reminder for all of us to think about our own lives. You know, what are we aiming for? What kind of impact do we want to have on the world? These stories, these myths, they're not just ancient history. They're about something bigger, something timeless, something we're all still figuring out.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to all the source material we discussed today. And let us know what you think. What are your takeaways from Thor's journey? How do you define true worthiness? Hit us up on social media and keep those conversations going.